I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Number 3, any citizens desiring to be heard? Hear none. Number 4, consideration of possible action on approving the minutes for July 14th, 2017.
So moved.
I have a motion.
Second.
And a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, motion carries.
Marvin, those minutes work okay for ACOG, or do they need?
They said for right now, yeah, they were fine. Basically said they get back with us if there was an issue, kind of way that was left.
Number 5, consideration of possible action on approving contract with Atlas Paving for bid 2017 CDBG for paving on Noble Drive and Wildwood Road.
Should be Wildwood.
Wildwind.
Wow.
Millie Vance called this morning, because this is CDBG and has to follow all the extra federal rules. One of those was that Atlas had to sign up for, I don't even know what you call it, their federal, that they were eligible. And they've done all of that, but the website has not allowed Millie access yet. There's been some glitch. She has the proof that they have complied and done what they did, but we can't do the actual contract until she gets to see this on the website and can make a printout. So she called this morning, asked that we go ahead and do this notice of award, and that the board would consider taking action to authorize the chairman to be able to sign the contract the minute that she can get what she needs from this federal website, and we can move it on.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Money, I need you to sign that.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, motion carries.
Thanks for wording that for me, Troy.
Uh-huh.
Number 6, discussion and possible action on request for exception from One Oak Pipeline to the county restrictions on 45-degree intersection boring, providing the request to provide cash reimbursement back to the county in lieu of applicant requirements to provide 200 foot of gravel on each side. It should be 200 yards.
Yards? Okay.
Yeah, 200 yards.
Excuse me.
All right, here we roll.
I've got one road crossing at Simmons Road in between, Chase, Wise, W-I-S-E. I have one road crossing on Simmons Road in between Rockwell and Council. It was a bore on an unpaved road, so we have 200 yards of gravel per your requirements. And I was going to see if I could reimburse the county for y'all to repay for the gravel, and y'all do the work to put the gravel on each side of our center line of our pipeline.
It's in my district, I believe. So I'd like to address that. So here's the issue as far as my ability to do that. I can accept the funds. I mean, legally we can accept the funds. We've looked at that. The challenge I have, though, is it's not a matter of money, it's a matter of time. So what I would have to do is redirect my operations, change what we're doing on other county road projects, and reschedule that to have my people go out and haul that gravel in and lay it and spread it. I mean, it does take time to do that. So in lieu of that, talking through it and thinking through it, then I would just contract that out and have it contracted. So now the county would be taking on the responsibility to do a contract in lieu of a requirement that you should have, right? So if we're going to contract it out, then it would be simpler for you to contract it to have it done. So if you're going to pay the county, in my opinion, you should probably just go ahead and think about having having a contractor do that for you.
Okay.
That's just my
Yeah, to
opinion.
follow up on, I had the same thing, I had a pipeline company want me to come out and do the work and then just send them an invoice and they'd pay me. Well, I talked to our district attorney about it and he said we can't do it that way. It seems how it's in the contract for them to do the project, so he advised me not to do it, so.
Okay.
I feel like that.
Understood. I was
Yeah. I
just
mean,
asking. I mean,
sure.
Yep, absolutely.
On the 45-degree boring, I tell you the reason that even got on there. Years ago, we had a pipeline company that was having a dispute with some property owner, like this is the intersection.
Right.
A landowner owned the corner. They couldn't get along with him. They couldn't get along with them. So they wanted to come out in the road and bore that way.
Right.
So that's why the 45-degree boring's even on there, is because they just wanted to go down the county road and then cut across.
So this, I think you've got the photo. This is at a dead end.
One across at an intersection.
It's a T
Through the
intersection.
intersection.
Yeah, please.
This is one property owner.
Please.
They didn't want to pay him damages, so they wanted to come out in the road and 45 across the intersection that direction.
I don't like intersections.
But I mean,
Problem.
there's always an exception to the rule.
That's true.
So this is a T intersection, and this is their proposed route through there.
And and my name is Dana Jenner also.
Hi, Dana.
How do you spell your last name?
Yeah, so
Benar.
Here's the county road, the T's here, and they're wanting to come across, I think. So what are you're trying to avoid this property over here?
Yes, yes, sir. This landowner will work with us only if we stay in the road. The other landowner won't even respond to us. We really try to.
So that was my deal. I mean, but my guys, they was wanting to come out the road 100 yards and then cut across.
Right. So
I
this
didn't
is
want it in the road.
this is basically a diagonal across
Correct.
this
Straight across the intersection.
intersection. But it is at a 45. It's not really.
Yeah.
But that's why I wanted to bring it to the board, because we talked about, as a policy, we don't do that in the county.
Right.
And I didn't want to take it upon myself to try and change.
Yeah.
Or
Well, these guys
policy.
was wanting to go 100 yards down the road, then cut across the intersection at 45. I don't want them in there. I got enough problems now.
Right.
But if you don't have a problem with that, I mean, that's a little different.
No, and I've got a similar one over on Choctaw. The Choctaw's closed, has been for a number of years. And it's at the top of the hill and it's all nothing but solid sandstone.
Okay.
So I'm not seeing it as a problem in the future, just not seeing it as a problem. So I
So
went ahead and authorized them to do that.
So based on our discussion here, I move that we approve a one-time deviation from our restriction on 45-degree intersection boarding
Thank
for
you.
1 Oak for that particular. Yes, ma'am.
Have you already submitted these permits?
We have them almost ready to go.
Okay, so, just so I have it straight, we know what permits are gonna come in. They're gonna be under the name of One Oak?
One of hydrocarbon LP.
What is the intersection we're talking about?
This is at Western and Forest Hills.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
I have a motion
Also,
and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Sorry we can't help you on the gravel deal,
understand.
but I mean, the DA advised me not to do it.
It's just, you know, on a bore. I mean,
Yeah.
well, how much traffic do you have coming in and out of
down that road. I mean,
there? See, there's the issue.
no, I understand. I mean, what the purpose is. There's just not a lot of traffic out there.
You know, until you come on.
Correct.
See.
All right, anything else for us?
Well, and that was actually going to be something we were going to bring up as well on the project we're doing.
Okay.
Is we're probably gonna have somewhere between 35 and 40, so,
Crossings.
dirt, yeah, that are either gravel or dirt. I know for sure I've highlighted a spreadsheet of, in District 1 alone, there's 17.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what are you getting at? You want us to waive the rock deal or? is it-
Well, we're here to see if we can work something out with you guys to where, you know, kind of like what Chase was mentioning.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to add to it, Buzz, but.
That is actually part of this
Everything to add.
agenda item,
Right,
that you just, so, I'm gonna go back to readdress.
yeah, we kind of already decided that, but I'm open to listening to it,
Yeah.
you know, again.
Okay, yeah, I mean, if there is something we can work out where, we can pay you, or, you know, just, I mean, that's why we're here, to just see if there's a way we can work something else out.
So here's what our ADA told me about receiving funds for this. That technically we can do that. However, that obligates the county to go out and do the work. Again, I don't have time to do the work, so I would have to contract that out. And then and the ADA said that the charge has to be reasonable, which we all understand reasonable to mean to cover the cost or reimbursement of the cost to do the job. So if I was contracting it out, that ends up being the cost. So if you're going to pay contract costs, the county shouldn't be doing the contracting for you. You should do your own contracting. It's kind of my thoughts on it.
And it's gonna cost you the same.
Well,
Pretty much.
I think where she's going is she's maybe wanting to put down 100 yards of rock instead of 200 yards of rock. I think.
Well, and
I
that's why
think-
I'm here to talk about, is there something we can do, you know?
Yeah.
that-
I'll tell you how I feel about that is, you know, you big companies come through and, you know, well, can you give us an exemption on this? And but yet all the little guys coming through, I mean, we don't give them nothing. So I personally won't vote to give anybody a break. I mean, it is what it is, and
Okay,
it's the price of doing business, I guess.
You can
That's
imagine-
just my feelings, but there's two more guys sitting here. You can talk all day to them.
I mean, he's got
you can
17 crossings, you can imagine how many I have. And I mean, we just flat don't have time. That's all that boils down to. So we contracted out, or you contracted out, it's pretty much 6 dozen the other. You just don't have to do a contract. We'd have to do a contract, but it costs you about the same.
okay.
And then, as far as the cost in Logan County to do this is much lower, I think, than some of our surrounding counties as well. Go over and price it Kingfisher County. I mean, they make a living off of it over there.
Well, I tell you what, their engineer was just going off on the TV about how the oil companies are just tearing the roads up. So,
You know, I guess maybe the only way I would ever address this is if the board brought it back to change the rules of our permitting. You know, maybe reduce it, maybe 200 yards is excessive. I mean, maybe we need to cut it back. But until we change it, I mean, I would never vote to give anyone a free pass.
Okay. Understand.
That's just my take on it.
But we did agree to the 45-degree boring, which is
Yeah.
that's a one-time exception.
Thank you.
Alrighty, any other discussion? Moving on, number 7, consideration of possible action on approving ingress and egress agreement with Larry Flowers for District 1. Y'all don't have to stay, I mean, you're more welcome to get up and go unless you have something else on the agenda.
I think that sounds like.
Cause I'm telling you, it's boring, but you're more welcome to stay.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
I make the motion.
I'll second.
Thank you.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed, the motion carries. Number 8, consideration of possible action on approving ingress and egress agreement with Randy Kimchi for District 3. I'll move we approve. What I got up there is the county road won't drain proper, and we're gonna have to dig a trench across this place to get the road to drain. That's what I'm doing. I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Go ahead, Martin.
I was just thanking Troy for her research and help on that pipeline thing.
Number 9, consideration of possible action on approving agreement of 1718 between Logan County Health Department and the following public schools for providing health services. we have done this in the past. I just don't
No,
remember.
this is something new, and I don't have the background, but I think it's a reasonable assumption that with budget cuts, the schools are no longer hiring employees to serve in the nursing and health, so that they're contracting with the health department. The health department is going to provide health education, they're gonna assist with different medical, social, emotional problems. This is from the agreement. Direct the control of communicable disease, instruct school employees and volunteers on appropriate immunization records, conduct and or coordinate screening programs in the schools, hearing, vision, scoliosis, etc. Make regularly scheduled visits to all schools for nurse teacher and nurse student conferences, serve as resource person for environmental problems, instruct school officials on first aid procedures. They've got the same agreement. This is being entered into between the health department and Crescent Public Schools and Guthrie Public Schools. The cost in Crescent is $18,000. The cost for Guthrie is $12,000.
That doesn't make sense. Why is the smaller school paying more than that? Okay.
I knew you were gonna ask that, and I don't have an answer.
Well, has
Closer?
did Crescent School look at this agreement?
They've signed it, so I'm assuming. I think that's set just for the chairman to sign, but I'm passing them through.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
Look at
I've
it.
seen. Yeah,
So this takes the place of what I used to remember as the school nurse.
Well,
I
then
believe
it
so.
So
said that they
full-time-
was gonna have a meeting with the school nurse, so I think they're gonna keep the school nurse.
Did I misread?
No, you read it. I heard.
I think it said provide.
Okay, and then bud services.
Make regularly scheduled visits to all schools for nurse, teacher, and nurse. Yeah, so maybe they are.
I think they're still keeping their nurse. I don't know how this is gonna help on the budget end.
It is different.
But if the schools approved it and that's what they want, I'm not good with it.
Does it cost anything out of the county general fund to support this?
No, the health department collects their own millage.
Okay. I move we approve.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
How many bills did they get?
2.56.
All right. Did I call for a vote on that?
You did.
I did. Number 10, consideration and possible action on 1718 contract with Summit mailing and shipping postage equipment for trade.
Chairman, we're back up at 10.
You want to do 10 first? I thought we was gonna skip that one. All right, number 10, consideration and possible action on approving 1718 agreement with City of Guthrie for emergency management.
This is the same agreement as last year. Nothing has changed.
It goes up on our end. When's the last time we negotiated this with them?
2 years.
I think one of these days we ought to sit down and look at talking about establishing a real emergency operations center if we're really gonna have emergency management.
So just so y'all know, the City of Guthrie pays $13,000 a year for David Ball's emergency management operations.
They also provide one telephone line and the cable service.
Slide.
I'll move with approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carried. Now let's do the millage, or the
Summit mailing,
Summit Milling, thank you.
Who sent this over?
it came from the city of Guthrie.
I just wondered why they spelled the name wrong, but.
IN.
Do I need to sign it that way?
No,
Okay.
Notarize it.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
What do we approve?
The Summit Milling and shipping postage equipment from the treasurer's
Oh.
office.
Aye.
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 All opposed, motion carries. 12, consideration of possible action on approving resolution receiving transfer of property from Oklahoma County to District 2 for payment of $5,000. This is correcting the correct equipment ID numbers on resolution 1760 approved on July 3rd, 2017.
Oklahoma County sent this back to me. They realized that when they created this resolution, their inventory number on the two rollers was incorrect. So they've asked that we reapprove this so that it had the correct numbers on it. And it's set up just for Monty to sign. It didn't alter or change anything, but for them to have the correct, their correct inventory number on it.
I move we approve.
We need the one we have the ID numbers for. I bet they're brand new.
I have a motion.
I move we approve.
Yeah. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Uh, 13, consideration of possible action on this surveyor. What do you got here, Marvin?
Well, apparently this is a generally accepted practice by a couple surveyors in our county. We just finished paving that middle mile Forest Hills between Coltrane and where Bryant would come out. And it's amazing to me that how the people that live on that road took immediate possession of it. That's their road now, right? I mean, they love that road. It's been paved. And they caught a surveyor out there chiseling a hole in the road. And so they wrote down tag numbers, the license number, the person that was doing it got pictures, all that stuff. And called me and said, you need to get these guys because they're tearing up our brand new road. So I called the surveyor and he said, well, it's a requirement for us to physically reestablish survey benchmarks, and a lot of them are under county roads or in county roads. And I understand that. Being an old field artillery guy, I understand the need for survey because you don't want to be shooting in the wrong direction. And for land surveyors, it's the same thing. They got to actually physically look at the benchmark. So I didn't have a problem with them finding the benchmark. What I had a problem with is they just left the hole in the road. So we got a brand new paved road that they chiseled the hole in the asphalt and down through the dirt and just left the hole open, which will turn into a pothole. So I didn't know what kind of kind of actions our board had or what our procedures were, if we even had any, for surveyors requesting or even if they do have to request to bore a hole in our road. I mean, it's a part of the county highway system. the Board of Commissioners are responsible for the maintenance, operation, care, and feeding of those roads. So I brought it here. That surveyor said he would be here today to talk about it, but he's not here, apparently. But anyway, that's the problem,
Yeah.
as I see it.
You know, I had a conversation with the surveyor one time, and it seems like he was telling me it's against the law for us to even cover one up.
That's
So
right.
I don't know that. Do you got any
Yeah,
knowledge
that's
on that?
right.
I have not heard that, actually. I think they can get to their benchmarks no matter where they are, but I can.
Have you
Oh,
heard any?
statute on.
I personally think, just in looking at the logic of a statute that says that we can send a bill to someone who damages the road, I think we can't prevent them from accessing to get to their benchmark, but I think that they should be responsible, and I think statutorily probably are, for the repair. I don't think we can prevent them from doing their job, but I do think that they would be responsible to repair their damage.
That's what I thought as well.
But I can shoot an email to Stillwater and double check that.
Yeah, I mean, if it's not a rule and we can, I mean, I think we ought to make it a rule.
Exactly. I don't think we have a process that covers this.
And I don't
it's
think-
something that we need to address. That's the reason I brought it to the board.
Statute is there to allow us to send a bill for recoup of damage. So I don't know if your process, if this is statutorily driven, we have to allow them to get to their benchmark, but we can bill them for the damage.
So they can also reestablish benchmarks too, and that's done quite often on state highway systems where they put concrete over what would normally be an old benchmark. So
Is
they
that the contractor does that? or
The
is that
contractor,
state?
the surveyor does that, the survey contractor.
So that's
do that.
part of the job, redoing the road. Well, my question is
No,
we cover
no,
up?
it's not necessarily part of the job of doing the road. If there's a survey
Okay.
benchmark there that the surveyors need to get to, this surveyor told me that they would come out and do that on their own to reestablish, if it needs to be reestablished, so they
That's
don't.
my son.
When you say reestablished, you're talking about just finding it again and.
Well, so they physically find it, they drop a plumb bob down, right? And establish, anymore they establish a GPS location for that. And then they will fill that in and put a brass benchmark on top of the road, so they don't have to dig back down through it anymore. With a little bullseye on it.
Well, Troy, if you don't mind sending Lowell an email on that,
Oh, yeah.
we'll, maybe we can set up something.
Should be under the statute of human kindness to repair it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, either that or the folks out there with pitchforks and torches are gonna be after them for tearing up the road. I was amazed at all the folks that called on that one.
Do you think maybe he left it that way and then was meaning to come back and put the plate on it, or no, just was gonna leave the whole?
They don't do that.
Yeah, just in
I've been
case,
fighting this for years.
just in case another surveyor needed to come behind them and look at it again.
Well, I don't see the difference in that, as Lowell was telling me the other day that Payne County, he had to send a big bill out because somebody had taken, there was a piece of steel off the bottom of their vehicle and just destroyed the asphalt paving, and they made them pay for it. So I don't see, I mean, damage is damage.
Right.
But they have to have access to. their
We can't
vehicle.
prevent them to do it, but they need to fix it, is what it
You
comes
got
down
action
to.
on that, or what you wanna do, or just?
I move we ask our county clerk to engage with the assistant district attorney on a legal opinion of this.
I can give you statutes.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Troy, thanks for doing that. One more little job for you. 14, consideration and possible action on detention transportation claim for June 2017 in the amount of $629.03.
Make a motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's 0.0.3 cents, by the way, so that's 0.3 cents.
I just figured it was the next round. 15, consideration of possible action on approving the 17-18 contract with Craig County Reading Detention Center at the rate of $25 per day.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second, all in favor? Opposed? Consideration of possible action on acknowledging receipt of notice of tort claim for Cox and forwarded to ACO claims. Whose is this?
Well, it's
District 2.
District 2.
Ruby's Road, Blue
Oh.
Addition Road. We were out there in March. They discovered the problem in late June. So, who knows?
I'll make the motion we acknowledge notice of receipt.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. 17, consideration of possible action on approving the following permanent road crossing permits. Is this them?
Lonnie,
Yes,
we
ma'am.
sent that agreement down for your ingress, egress, but you've got the signed one there, so you need to
Oh, yeah.
get everyone to redo that.
Okay.
I just realized with that one.
I move we approve the
Second.
crossings.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, you can sign, we already approved. Just pass the wrong ones down.
Chairman, I have nothing for 18 and 19.
Let that put us on consent.
Yes. Take roll.
Sign that one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So if we're charging $3,000 instead of $300, how many pipeline crossings would you get?
And is that what you just asked?
Yeah. Isn't that what
Oh, I
some of
see.
the other counties charge?
Some of them are 2,500 and up, depending on the type of
Crossing.
crossing.
Out of curiosity, why is Logan County?
Because when it was just, originally we used to charge $100, and then there was a ruling that came down and said, well, you can't charge anything, so they stopped charging anything. Well, it ended up being requested of an opinion of the AG, and the AG came back and said not only could the board charge a permitting fee, but it was up to the board to make the rules for their crossings. However, the fee was to cover the actual cost of the inspection of the line and administration of the permit. And this board, taking that very to heart, sat down and said, $300 could cover what the AG says the purpose of the fee is for. And they took that very literally when they set that fee. And the AG's opinion specifically says it cannot be used solely as a revenue generator.
How's other counties?
No one's called them on the carpet for it. I mean, if someone challenged them,
You would think, yeah.
then it would go to the courts or to an AG and for it to be established. But that's the reason the fee here was set where it was.
When these companies aren't afraid of paperwork, I don't know why they would see a big difference.
So, if there was no CED at all, and we just all the counties got their equal split on that, we would be getting a lot more than just 13,000 district. That's kind of my point. Right?
No, I just can't seem to get the legislators on board with this.
I think we have more willing to listen to us than you think.
It's growing.
This year, it's a lot more than last year, I think. They went, huh? Huh?
I think the fact that the 1165 came through the subcommittee on a 10-0 vote says a lot.
ACO published their summer flyer for their conference, and inside the cover, the poster child for certain projects is a bridge over the Red River that feeds traffic from Texas north up into the casino. And there's two state bridges within 8 and 12 miles respectively on each side of that. But it's still a $7 million bridge that couldn't have been done without the joint cooperation of the SERB program. Apparently. And it took 10 years to do.
Talking about certain projects, you know, I was telling you the other day down at the CED meeting, my project up here on Beaver Creek got shut down because the benchmarks were in the wrong spot or destroyed or whatever. The contractor moved off, and the contractor wants a remobilization fee to come back. ODOT come up to my shop and said that basically Logan County's gonna be responsible for that. And I think it's like 40,000, and I said, you know, I don't see where Logan County's liable, but anyway, we had some long discussion, and I tell you, I just let our DA handle it on my behalf. He called me the next day, and they figured a way to pay it, so.
You know, I happen to think about and remember, just off the top of my head, doing some research on CERB, but I know where there's a statute that says that we wouldn't be responsible for something that they contracted. If they're the contractor, they're responsible for it.
But you know,
It's Title 69, roads and bridges.
that's what I asked him. I said, you know, you're getting 6.5% of this project to be the general contractor, the overseer of the project. Wouldn't that fall on your shoulders? Oh, no.
No, they want the county to be responsible for everything that goes wrong, and they get paid for it.
But anyway, so we're supposed to be marching forward on the project.
That's good news.
Yeah, it's been a long, tough project.
How long have you been trying to get that bridge done?
I don't even want to tell you. It's 17 years.
Holy shit.
I inherited it, and I've been working on that since I've been here, and the commissioner before me worked on it. It's been a 17-year process.
Casino bridge looks a piece of cake.
Just saying, if they built
10
it
years.
17 years ago, they'd probably need to replace it by now. That's how easy this ODOT process is. It makes a lot of sense.
Everything's easy as long as you ain't the one cutting the check. I run out of ink.
You haven't got to the yellow yet.
I know. I need to bring a
Pass
spare
that
next
down,
time.
please.
Thank you, Troy.
Mm-hmm.
Signing the fuel man brings up a thought I have. The Corporation Commission is really having a hard time with our underground storage tank. That new one out there, it seems to be some sort of a leak between the inner and outer seal. It's collecting moisture at the rate of about ½ inch a month. They don't like it. They say if we can't get it fixed, the ultimate fix is to dig it up. So, what's the issue with county road districts having fuel cards?
I think if you wanted to, you could. I think part of your struggle with that might be accessibility for the large equipment to a fuel man pump.
Well, I mean, there's one right down.
But I mean, there's nothing to stop you from doing that.
So, I mean, instead of maintaining fuel in our yard, we would have a credit card where we go buy it. Is that fuel negotiated at a lower cost, or are we just
No.
paying commercial prices?
We are paying, without the tax. The tax is negated on it.
Right.
So when you go to the fuel pump, they take the tax off?
No, when they process the bill. So you're gonna get a receipt, because you're gonna get a regular receipt that says one amount, but when the bill comes in, there's an adjustment made off on the bill.
How do we budget for that? I mean,
Well, that would be done on your side to make sure you had M&O funds out there and.
that's what I'm asking. How do we budget for that?
You know, they run on blanket POs. You just figure out your maximum fuel expense for the month.
That's the same way you do now. I mean,
Yep, you get volume discounts.
So,
Are they gonna give you volume discounts? Fuel man.
You're gonna pay more for fuel going through Fuel Man
Right.
because it's at the pump rather than what we're paying to have, a big
So,
tank full.
it's all relative, right? So you say we're gonna be paying more, but if it costs me $250,000 to dig up those buried tanks and put an above ground system in, amortized over, 10, 15 years? I'm not sure.
sure.
That's why I was asking. It's something that I may have to consider if those folks from the Corporation Commission get
Election board claim money signs there.
patient with us.
Who put that tank in? Was that Hoydell that put that one in?
I don't know.
Hoydell's the one that done mine.
Now, ours is above ground.
Yours is above ground too, isn't it? Yeah, this is underground. Underground tanks are a problem.
Yep.
Have been for-
Alcoholic beverage.
ever since I can remember.
That's pretty.
Every National Guard armory had an underground fuel storage tank. I mean, all those WPA buildings, armories, and the state back in, late 80s, early 90s had to start removing all those, and it was a pretty good expense back then to remove them and clean up all those sides. And they went to fuel cards after that.
Wonder when they're gonna upgrade these tanks and make it a requirement. New tanks.
Well, they will.
They will.
It's
There's
a
not
money
much.
thing. All about the money.
That's a fact.
I think when we done that fuel tank, if I remember right, it was about 50,000 to take out what I had and replace it.
Well, I think if I could borrow your track hoe for about a day and a half, we can get it out of there. Ain't a big deal.
Yeah.
That concludes consent.
Move we approve.
Okay.
Have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. 21, consideration of possible action on approving claims for payment from July 2017.
Maybe they like change their mind, kind of like baby lay them on their belly in the crib, and you lay them on the back, and then another 6 years you put them back, and then it's
Yeah.
back.
Some use pills, some don't.
Yeah.
Wow.
$3.41 on that one, Marvin, I missed it. Just the way I am. Hey, you do that too.
$8 ain't got the paperwork.
I've worked very hard to make sure that that didn't happen. I don't understand how that happened.
Well, pass it here so I can see it, because I can't see what we're looking
We
at.
bought that
Sit
trailer,
down.
invoice before PO.
Well, I can tell you the date of the invoice is 7/13, and your requisition is 7/14, so I don't know.
Yeah,
More communication.
I'll go back and chat Cassidy about that, what was up with that.
Well, it may not be her. Is
I know.
it a matter of you talked to them on the phone and they went ahead on their side before, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
So that could be, you weren't official on your side and the vendor just, so I don't know which direction on that.
Well, I told them that I actually told them, the vendor, that we can't be invoiced until you get a purchase order from the county. But a lot of children, they don't listen.
We may have them coming. The work done has always been covered by warranty with CAT.
Oh, this
They're
is
saying
this
that's
is
on us.
Pretty track. We won't have to borrow yours anymore.
Yeah, one, huh?
Yeah.
That's it for claims.
It'll haul the track, or not track up, but the
Make
back
the
of
motion.
it, that kind of stuff.
He's still
Second.
signing some down there.
Have a motion and a second, all in favor? Any citizens desiring to be heard? Comments, announcements by the board, I do have some comments to make. I don't know, I'm not on the computer, but everyone out on Prairie Grove is trying to figure out who ought to get credit for the road.
Well, you need to get most of it.
No, I don't need any credit, but here's the thing, it's all three districts. The funding, just so people will understand it, all three commissioners voted to pay for that road out of the CBRI account, which is a joint account between all of us. So actually, all three of us funded the project.
That's true.
The citizens out on Prairie Grove raised up $30,000 of private money and donated to the job. District 3, District 2, and District 1, all three of us had employees out there working on the road for several days. I appreciate y'all's help on the road, but so it's the citizens that deserve the credit and our employees for doing the work.
There you go.
So just to make that clear, I think that's who deserves the credit, is the citizens and our employees.
Well said.
That's all I got.
Thought you do.
But I do appreciate y'all helping on the project. Mike provided some belly dumps and a roller, Marvin provided water truck, and water, and employed to help run the lay down machine, and
That was more OJT for him than help, I think.
Yeah, well,
But we appreciate that.
it was a nice project. It went really well. I think that just shows what we can do if we work together.
I agree.
Anything else? Going once, going twice. Consideration of possible action on adjournment.